BMW unveiled the BMW iVision D concept at this year's CES show. And it will be interesting when you go to register this car because it can literally shift between 32 different colors in an instant using something called e-ink. And in this video I'm going to share my thoughts on this design, which I actually think is a really good design by BMW. I'm going to let you know exactly why when we talk about the front, side and rear. And of course we need to talk about this interior, because if you thought the Tesla interiors were minimal, this takes that to a whole new level. Different levels of augmented reality can be displayed across the entire windshield of the Vision D, and while it's most definitely a concept car at this point, BMW has mentioned that some of these features, we don't know exactly which ones, but some of these features from this concept will be in production by 2025. So that's going to be interesting to see what type of features those are. So here it is, the BMW iVision D concept. D standing for Digital Emotional Experience, and this is for sure a very, very digital car. And I don't know, it might feel like we're heading too much in the digital and the augmented reality when it comes to design, and specifically the interior designs. But looking at this front end, what I like about why I think this is a great design by BMW, first of all, it's very restrained in its styling. And that was by design, because since you have 240 panels across the entire car that can change colors instantly, you don't want to add a complex design, exterior design on top of that. That might be too messy for the eyes, and it just doesn't really make sense. So that's why they wanted to have a very simple design, and I think they nailed it with this design, because they say it's inspired by the 2002, and I think the proportions looking at this car looks like it's on point for a BMW sedan. I really like the proportions of this car. All the other things that we can talk about, the technology, when you go up to the car you see your avatar in the window, which I think is ridiculous.
Wow.
But it's just a gimmick and showing off the technology at this point. Looking at the front view, what I like about this is that we have the two kidney designs from BMW. This is a tradition that BMW needs to keep because it's so ingrained in the BMW DNA. And this is also a shape shifting, and it can show you different facial expressions and so on, which is pretty cool. And we also have these two lines. These two lines for me symbolize a variant of the angel eyes that we've had in BMWs for a long time, since the mid 2000s. But going back, you also always had two circular headlights inside of these of the BMW front face, and I think this is a good modern interpretation of that design. Looking at the side view, this is where it gets really cool, because I really like these proportions, very tight looking for a BMW sedan. And if this were the proportions of the next 3 Series, I would have nothing bad to say about that. I really like how this goes in. Very retro styling. We don't have any body parts sticking out like this, like we have on pretty much every single modern car. So it's a retro, I would say a retro inspired design, since it was inspired by the 2002, but still any new modern take with seriously cool proportions. Looking at it from a straight rear view right here, still very simplistic design. There is nothing going on in this design. In the surfacing, very soft surfacing all over the car, but I don't think it's a bad thing in this car, in this specific car, because as I've said before, what we're gonna move on to moving forward is simple proportions, simple surfacing, just like we have here, but with strong graphic features, and that's exactly what we have in this design. We still can see clearly that this is a BMW just by looking at the graphics of this car and the proportions as well. Another thing I want to mention is that they kept the Hofmeister kink here as well. Very well done, BMW. Thank you for not removing this very important feature of any BMW sedan. If you take that away, it's not gonna feel like a BMW. I know the new 4 Series Coupe, the M4 is a coupe, but it doesn't have the Hofmeister kink, and it feels like something is missing when I look at that from a side view. So looking at the interior, this is where it gets really trippy. We have some dolphins in these sketches, and a lot of colors. This looks like a piece of art right here, and we also have some palm trees and stuff. But as I said, looking at this interior and comparing it, for example, to Tesla's interior, which is said to be very minimal, which it is, but I think this is just taking that to a whole nother level. I do like the design of the steering wheel, but I'm not a fan of these type of interiors. I don't like when it's so stripped down that there's nothing that will give you an emotion when you look across the interior. There's nothing that draws your attention to it, and I don't know, it's just a lack of craftsmanship that I'm worried about is disappearing, and everything becoming touch and light and displays and all this digital stuff, and we're moving away from the input of designers and hand-shaped sculptures on the interior of the cars. I'm not a huge fan of this interior. I do understand why they did it. They wanted to have it be in line with the exterior design, so a very simplistic interior design. As you can see right here, there's absolutely nothing going on. You have these touchpads, and then you have controls popping up in this, what I think looks like some sort of fabric, and then all these controls that you're putting in with your touch pads right here pop up on the screen, and the visor, so you have a full augmented reality windscreen right in front of you. And I mean, just look at the door here. There's just logos everywhere. There's no shape to feel. There's no tactile feeling in these new designs, and this is not just for this BMW. This is across the entire lineup of new EV cars. I think all cars are moving in this direction, where less is, I guess, more, but for me this is not less is more. This is just less is worse, and I want to have some more interior design features that are actually beautifully sculpted on the inside, not like we have here, just a big panel of absolutely nothing. But looking at the exterior again, final thoughts on this D concept. I think it's a good step in the right direction. BMW right now, I've said this before, they're all over the place with cars that they make that look overstyled. The proportions are way off. The iX is the best example for that. It's just a horrible design, and then they drop designs like this, the D concept, which gives me a little bit of hope. And the 3-liter CSL, also beautiful design in the same time period. So I feel like they maybe are having a lot of fun in their design department. They're just throwing ideas on the walls to see what sticks, and I hope they go more in this angle. I would love to see the next 3 Series be inspired by this design. I think that would be a hit, and that would be very well executed when it comes to proportions and graphics. So I guess we'll have to wait and see until 2025 which one of these features actually goes into production.